Jay, let me actually just turn to you for a second. So on this question of innovation, what kinds of private sector innovations are actually emerging? And what do you think will be their impact on the food system? Also, if you could give us some examples, perhaps.
Sure. So, there are a couple of challenges, and our Prime Minister has really put a very interesting challenge, which is doubling farmer income. Doubling farmer production is also a big challenge, but technologies are available to double farmer production. But doubling production at the farm level does not double his income. So we need to really connect farmers to value chains. And I think the exciting thing is the awareness among the bureaucracy and the government is very, very, they are very aware that this needs to be done. And I can see a tremendous impact in the next 3-4 years to connect farmers to value chains. Once you connect farmers to value chains, the ability for them to absorb technology, to spend money, because he's earning money. And wherever we have worked with farmers, small farmers, the minute you give them affordable technology to increase production, to improve quality, to improve ability to sell, they are very receptive. So, for example, over the last few years, we've introduced a number of different technologies. We introduced canola in Punjab as a rotation crop with wheat. It's a small acreage, but we think that once they're connected to a value chain, that can increase. It can increase wheat if you do canola wheat rotation. Just because of the soil improvement, you can get 30% improvement in wheat yields. Also, it reduces the pressure on FCI to continue to buy and stock up. We have introduced a service called AFS, which is basically bringing in modern technology, modern spraying technology to farmers. Today we have 300,000 farmers who have adopted that technology. Today it costs the farmers 300 rupees an acre to spray typically. We are offering that at 75 rupees. Massive adoption and very exciting. Farmers are starting to believe that this is really helping them. They are also reducing the application of pest control products by almost 25% because they're getting better spraying and it's reducing the requirement. We have also introduced technology for drought tolerance, but basically it's climate smart technology. With the whole climate change, you are getting very high periods of heavy rain, and then you have a dry spell. Most crops lose germination, they lose yield, etc. So this is a super absorbent when applied to the soil, absorbs about 500 times the water. You use it at about 5 kilos an acre, and it reduces the risk of stress-related yield losses on plants. Also, it reduces the loss of nutrition. Other than that, there is so much technology on smart, with satellites, with weather prediction models, with soil technologies, growth stimulants, all the biological activities. So I think over the next 3 to 4 years, we will see the impact of all these efforts. So many startups. Yesterday we had a meeting and we had a number of startups there, connecting farmers to value chain, bringing soil data, using satellites to identify different types of stresses. All this will integrate, but the most important thing is the farmers need it at a very, very low cost. Once he comes in and he starts making money, I think that they will be able to pay. So no use bringing technology which is very expensive. Bring affordable technology and increase adoption. And I think that in a country size of India, scale will reduce the costs for us. So there's tremendous amount of work happening, and we are going to see, I think the next green revolution is on its way. I think we will have tremendous amount of investment in reduction of food losses, as Minister was saying. UPL is the world's largest company in fruit coatings. We coat all the apples in US and citrus in US, in Europe. All that technology we are bringing in. We are seeing a tremendous growth in all these things, adoption. But I think the retail chain growth also, and the adoption of the consumers looking for better quality and fresher foods is also giving that push to bringing in technologies because people are willing to pay for it. So I think, we need to understand that, there are very few entrepreneurs in the world who will put all their capital every year in something, right? None of us here will put all our money in one business to start with. Okay, some may, but most people won't. A farmer, a small farmer, puts all his money in his farming, and at the end of that, he's susceptible to droughts, he's susceptible to floods, he's susceptible to disease, pests, some other issues in the environment, and then if he has a good crop, he has to go and find somewhere to sell it, and if he has a very good crop, very likely all the neighboring farms has a very good crop, and then he can't sell it. So it's a very, very tough, probably the toughest. I don't think anybody in this room would take that much risk as he takes every year. And then every 2 or 3 years, one of these events comes in and his net worth is wiped out. In that environment, you expect somebody will be very, very pessimistic, very, very careful and vulnerable, because he really is the most vulnerable person in the country. Now what we need to do, and I think there is a lot of the Nestle story, and there are so many success stories, the grape growing in Maharashtra, or some of the other value chains, the vegetable growers in around big cities, they're making very good money. They earn $10,000, $15,000 an acre per year in 3-4 months. So there are some, the key is, if we look at the success stories, is connecting them to sustainable value chains. And the Nestle story is the same. I mean, I think across the world, and I think the awareness in the government and the industry is, and the retail sector is growing. People are investing. Retailers want high quality, consistency. Food supply chains are coming, and I think everybody knows that if we double our food processing industry, triple our food processing industry, a lot of this stress and the income levels will be steadied, because you're not going to put a factory and then processing factory and then not be, there will be always some people who do not follow the procedure, but 90% of the farmers are honest, 99% of the farmers are honest, and they will honor the commitment to the value chains, because they have seen all this. So I think that the awareness is there, but adoption is a problem, because you're dealing with people who are at extreme risk to losing everything every